Hello and welcome to the little introduction to the Flourishing Business Canvas model today. We want to answer the question of basically digging a bit deeper into the question of how business can thrive while contributing to a better world. My name is Janine von Kopinski. I'm from the Chair of Entrepreneurship and Innovation Management at Technical University in Berlin. I do my PhD about topics of circular economy businesses and sustainable businesses, and especially focusing on startups. Really in the entrepreneurship scene. And this is also kind of related to this model of the Flourishing Business Canvas. And I would love to give you a little introduction to what is the Flourishing Business Canvas, also how can we actively integrate it into consulting of startups, or also how can the startups actively use this very great tool. Then asking the question, why flourishing? What does it mean? Then the different elements, we go through the Flourishing Business Canvas. I will also present to you quickly the benefits of it, why you should, or like why it's a good option to use this Canvas model. When we quickly also go through a case study of Ecosia, probably Ecosia knows everybody. We quickly go through that. And then we have a little announcement of our Sustainability Consulting Hour. And in the end, you find all the resources and great YouTube channels also that the Flourishing Business Canvas can offer. So as an introduction, on the left, you see the Flourishing Business Canvas. On the right, you see the normal business canvas from Strategizer of Osterwalder and Pinua, right? When we focus on the right business model canvas, it has the value proposition of the product or service. It defines the customer segments, the relationships to customers, the channels, so how you can reach the customers. On the left, you have more like the internal company part of what kind of key activities do you need to do to produce this product and offer this product or service. What key resources do you need? Also, who are your key partners? And at the bottom of the page, you have the cost structure and the revenue structure. And what is already adopted is that you also think about your environmental and societal costs, and also the benefits of your, in this case, of your value proposition as a company. So I would say the business model canvas is like the starting point where what you can use to make, or like to visualize, to illustrate your business model. And you can work here with post-its, like print it out, work with post-its, or put it on a Miro board and use like digital post-its. And you will see over the course of your incubation time that for each, like in each phase, it will become a little bit differently. So I would really like use this canvas model to really also trace like the differences that happens, and all the developments that happen within the startup journey. And then on the left, we have the Flourishing Business Canvas. So you see there are more elements in it involved, because it not only covers like the economic, financial, hard and core facts, but it also covers the society and environment with different elements. But we will go through that. I want to give you like quickly this example. Like when we fill in the normal business model canvas that I think is required, or like at least suggested for every new startup, what you can do easily, right, is to use like already what you worked on here on the business model canvas, to really take the same post-its or notes and already pre-fill the Flourishing Business Canvas. Okay, so you can save a lot of time, because I know time is money in this regard. So you can already use like the financial core facts from the business model canvas into the Flourishing Business Canvas. So try to like, take the things already from the one to the other, and you save a lot of time, and you have already like some pre-filled elements. Okay, so what is the Flourishing Business Model Canvas? Actually, the definition is that it is a strategic framework that combines traditional business model elements with sustainability principles, right? So also covering society and the environment. And it helps business goals aligning with their environmental, social, and economic well-being. So we see here having the strategic framework combining sustainability principles. So we have the business goals simultaneously or aligned with environmental, social, and economic well-being. So why flourishing? What does this flourishing mean in this context? So for me, this was in the very beginning when I got to know the concept very intriguing. So here I want to quote John Ehrenfeld from MIT. It is about striving to sustain the possibility that human and other life will flourish on this planet forever. So imagine a future where successful enterprises create three profits, meaning of social benefits, of environmental regeneration, and of financial returns. So basically, a flourishing business does good to do well, right? So this is different than putting sustainability as an extra budget, like on CSR or whatever governance things, on top of the normal business model, but actually it needs sustainability to actually do the right financial performance, right? So without possibility, the company would go bankrupt. So, this is like what we mean with active integration of societal and environmental parts. So, a company excels because humans are flourishing and the nature is thriving. Okay, you see that here on the right-hand side, the business is embedded in a society, and a society is embedded in the environment. So this is kind of the frame that we use here. So without a healthy environment, like the society is not healthy. Without a healthy society, we cannot have a healthy business life, right? And coming to the flourishing startup method, this is actually a very practical approach. How you can use the canvas for backcasting and start and test new enterprise models, right? So that's why I would really like to introduce that into also startup consultations. So here we start on the right-hand side, upper right-hand side, number A, with an inspiring vision. So this is where the starting point of the flourishing business canvas lies. So it's defining what is like the basic vision that you have with an enterprise. So it's like the purpose of the organization. And to define that, you can use design principles to define your success rate besides the financial returns and like the numbers, the hard numbers. Like this is like a separate lecture, right? I would not dig deeper into this right now, but there's like lots of materials that you can find in the end of the presentation. What we focus on here is now on number B, baseline current state. So the flourishing business canvas helps you to understand how the current state of like your planned business model is at the moment and compares it to the inspiring vision that you defined before, right? And what do you need to do to reach or to achieve your inspiring vision in the future? So it's like really in the far future. I think it's also beneficial to talk about as founders to speak about what is the inspiring vision. What do you want to achieve yourselves as individuals? What is like your future plans for yourselves, right? Do you want to have an exit after 5 years, or do you want to have like a job in your own company for the rest until your life, until retirement? When you compare like the baseline and the inspiring vision, you're like kind of forced to talk about like your long-term goals as well, for yourselves, but also of course for your company, for the business model, right? So this tool also helps you to create solutions to come to the future state. And along the way, you can ask yourself like prioritizing questions such as, does it align with our values, like this certain decision right now? Does the solution move us in the right direction when it comes to our inspiring vision? It is flexible enough, and is it a good return on investment? So you see, like always, we have like I would say these are like a little bit of of words we always use, but it's like has a lot to do with innovation, authenticity. So, like authenticity as a sustainable business, showing transparency and accountability. These are all key figures to come along with a street profit value system. So elements of the flourishing business canvas. So when we think back about the beginning, we started with the business model canvas of Strategizer. So talking about the economy. So we start here with the economy as well. And when we remember back, it was speaking only about customers, the business model canvas, right? What is different in the flourishing business canvas is that we talk about the people, the value, and the process when it comes to economy dimension. So the people, and these are entities or individuals that benefit from your organization's products or services. They focus on delivering value that aligns with stakeholder sustainability and well-being. So in the beginning, you should not only define your customer segments, but also like all the stakeholders that you need, right? So stakeholders can also be internal stakeholders. So just think about more stakeholders that your company has and needs than only your customers. Build relationships by certain channels, right? Think about how you can have a good relationship to each stakeholders and maybe also create a mutual exchange. So which channels can you use? Then we have the value, which is showing your unique and sustainable benefits offered to your stakeholders, right? So again, quite specific, with value co-creations. It's also about empathizing how the organization's products and services contribute to flourishing its community, right? So again, stakeholders can also be a community. It doesn't have to be like, only like individuals or organizations. And it differentiates you from existing organizations and is also the reasons why your stakeholders choose your company and want to support your company in whatever way. So what is different again, or basically what's similar is talking about your products and services, right? What is like your key value proposition, but also what is your value co-creation for your stakeholders, but also think about co-destructions. So what value do you destruct for others? So of course, for your competitors, you probably destruct monetary value, but maybe also not only for competitors, but also for certain stakeholders or for other people, organizations, communities, whatever, you destruct certain value types that can be like societal value, like or also monetary value. So think about also what kind of co-destructions do you have in value, okay? Just become aware of that, try to work on it. Processes, very important, right? What kind of core operations and practices do you have? So it empathizes how the organization conducts its business partnerships responsibly and the governance structures as well that align with ethical and environmental considerations, right? So which partners do you need, and also how can you set up a governance structure in your company? Okay, let's jump to society, to the lighter green section of the flourishing business canvas. So we start that the organization has an impact on the society as a whole, right? I think we all agree on that fact. And we should become aware of in what way and for whom do we impact, maybe positively or negatively. So when it comes to resources, we need to be aware that every company needs resources, right? Even we as humans need resources, and every company needs resources. Also, running a digital business model also needs a lot of resources, right? When it comes to electricity, to technology, and so on and so on. So, what kind of inputs to fulfill your societal or environmental mission do you need? What activities or actions do you need to undertake to address those social or environmental needs? So this is partly also covered in the business model canvas, but here we want to let you think about also what kind of societal yeah, and like which kind of resources, like from societal perspective, and also what kind of activities from societal perspective do you need? When it comes to the actors, so the ecosystem actors, it becomes quite interesting because how do they distinguish from stakeholders, right? Because stakeholders are defined to have like a stake in your company, so like an active state, but actors can be in the ecosystem, so not directly like affected by your business, right? So stakeholders also like contribute to your business, but actors can be or ecosystem actors can be influenced by it. So these individuals and groups play a role in organizations' interaction with society. So, for example, like an NGO, that you need to reach the larger society stage or certain communities, for example. And when we come to needs, they can go from environmental sustainability to social equity. So here it comes to understanding and prioritizing those needs to guide the development of initiatives that have like a truly and meaningful impact. So and also like the challenges the organizations seeks to assess, right? So basically the needs are really like what kind of society needs do you want to tackle with your business. Okay. Next step, or basically also one of the last things, last elements about the environment. So when we speak about the environment, we have to emphasize the commitment of a company to sustainability and responsible environmental stewardship. And here we can analyze the biophysical stocks and ecosystem services. So biophysical stocks involve responsible management of natural resources, right? So also becoming aware of it, writing it down in some post-it, what kind of biophysical stocks do you need and do you use as a company? And ecosystem services focus on integrating them into the organization's operations. So in what way do you need to use them? Or will you use them from a startup perspective? And then also how you can make them maybe circulating within your company, speaking about circular economy, right? So how can you reuse certain biophysical stocks? How can be a life cycle of a product or service can be established. Okay, last but not least, we talk about the costs for the environment, for the society, and for the economy. In the middle, we have the goals, right? So this was your inspiring vision that you should actually talk about first, right? About your inspiring vision that you can put in the middle into goals, and then speaking again about the benefits to the economy, so for your own financial returns, for the society, and for the environment. Okay, so we have always having this tree profit in mind, or also like tree costs when we can say it like that. Okay, very quickly, the benefits of using the Flourishing Business Model Canvas. Actually, it helps to integrate sustainability principles into the core of operations, fostering ecological and social responsibility. It puts the organization into a growing market, demand for environmentally and socially responsible products. So you get also access to new markets. Businesses are better equipped to adapt to changing market dynamics. So speaking here about resilience and adaptability, it encourages businesses to go beyond profit generation and actively contribute to social and environmental well-being, so creating a positive impact and becoming aware of negative impacts. It also fosters innovation by challenging businesses to develop creative solutions to align with sustainability, right? So it also helps you differentiating from competitors. It also aims for long-term financial success, so a long-term survival of the company, and enhance stakeholder trust through like accountability, through authenticity, right, in your message of being a sustainable enterprise or a sustainable company. So we already are at the example of Ecosia, so running this little case study. So this is like the empty flourishing business canvas. And when we fill it in with the example of Ecosia, being like a search engine that plants trees for every search a user is doing, is typing in, and then they plant a tree, right? So they dedicate a certain budget, so a certain percentage of their revenues to professionally plant trees in different regions of the world. So this is basically like the business model of it. So what stakeholders do they have? So plenty, right? We were just writing down 3 here because like otherwise we cannot read the flourishing business canvas on this little slide. So basically they have the users, right? If the search engine is not made in a user-centric and easily used way, we will not have like users, like even though like we support the mission of Ecosia, but like if the search engine is like not running well, like we will not use it, right? So that's why users are very important stakeholders in here. We have tree planting partners. We also have environmental organizations. And we finally also have like customers, right? So customers who actually like pay for like, advertisement and so on. What kind of relationships do we need to establish to our stakeholders? And here we are just writing down like, one example to answer users' interests and encourage participation. How? Via the channel of the search engine online platform, and many different ways on how I can reach as a user Ecosia, saying like, hey, this and this doesn't work. Can we like, improve these things? So via the search engine, they already reach the users. So this is like the example only for the users, right? Otherwise, like you can really not read it well on the slide, but you can print it out, the flourishing business model canvas, and then use different colors of the post-its for like, okay, this is like according for the users, like what kind of relationships do we need for the users, might be like the orange post-it. The green post-it might be about, okay, these are the tree planting partners, what kind of relationships do we need with them, like also like how can we reach the local communities where like the trees should be planted, and so on and so on. So you can use different colors for each stakeholder group. When we jump to value, we have value co-creations. So it encourages users to actually participate in tree planting without like, planting yourselves. Through their searches, fostering a sense of environmental responsibility also among the user base, maybe also among users who never like actually thought about climate change and how we can, what we can do to stop it. But we also have value co-destructions to other search engines, right? And also search engines of non-sustainable purposes like Google or Bing. We have processes. In the processes, we have partnerships and governance structures, right? Especially when it comes to working with local communities as a company, we need to have like, quite clear governance structures. Transparency was pretty much involved in here, that you really need to make sure that like, also the local community benefits from planting trees or planting like a new forest, like, maybe they used the field before for agriculture, so you cannot just like, go there and plant trees. So really governance is like very, very important thing in here. You can also get credibility by being certified, for example, as a B Corporation in the case of Ecosia, but they're like, many more also, I would say, good, renowned certifications of being a sustainable business. When it comes to society, we have to think about the social resources and activities that we need to make the search engine run in this more sustainable way. Also the ecosystem actors, so like who is all like, like who is affected by our, as Ecosia, by our way of doing business. And also what kind of needs do we tackle? So basically it's the preservation of ecosystem services, right? And aligning this with the social needs of the communities. now we are in the wider frame of the environment. So what kind of biophysical stocks do we need? So what does it take to actually plant trees? What does it take to run the search engine? Right, these are like, biophysical stocks that we need in terms of energy, in terms of like seeds for the trees, waters to make them actually live, also like in drier regions, and so on and so on. And also what kind of ecosystem services do we provide? So by planting trees, and even if like, maybe just half of the trees survive, but we have like after a few years a carbon sequestration in air and also water purification. And it has like many more also like natural benefits, I would say. These are just examples. So what is the goal? Is to combat climate change by reforestation, and Ecosia found a way to actually make money to reach this final goal of reforestation, right? So their costs are definitely having infrastructure costs, software development, and so on. They also have social costs, right? They have to really get into contact with local communities. Also environmental costs of already investing in an environmental or ecological way of planting trees. So you also need to get the seeds from somewhere, right? And also benefits, I think, are quite clear here with the environmental reforestation for mitigation of climate change, also biodiversity preserving, and many more intangible benefits, especially if you work closely with the communities. And by the way, hiring a lot of people, right, for running a search engine. Also competing with big players like Google and Bing. So yeah, we have also a tree profit being ensured by Ecosia here. Okay, so this was it with the Flourishing Business Canvas lecture. I want to quickly introduce you to the Sustainability Consulting Hour that not only I offer, but also my colleague Dr. Christina Feiger from the Center for Entrepreneurship, Mira Tai from Science and Startups, who's stakeholder manager over there. And we have a larger network. So if you contact Christina Feiger here via email, you can also make sure what do you need in terms of sustainability. Do you want to go with us through the Flourishing Business Model Canvas so that we help you in applying this? No problem, we can do that. If you have other questions or other things that you want to talk about when it comes to your business model, you can send it to Christina, and we also look in our network who can help you in the best way. So the preference is to be on site at TU Berlin, but we also do online participations through Zoom. Okay, and with this, we have last but not least all the resources and more information. So the Flourishing Business Canvas actually has a very active community as a nonprofit organization, and they have a really, really good homepage. Also for free, you can download the first starter kit for sustainable for the flourishing startup method, and also for several other canvases on their website you can download for free. There are several research articles about that. I posted it in here. And also, last but not least, they have a really good YouTube channel explaining in 1 or 2 minutes, explaining each element again. So if you go with your team through the Flourishing Business Canvas, you can just watch for these 1 or 2 minutes, you can watch the video on each element, and then you can better understand on how you can integrate this into your business model planning. I'm just thinking if I missed something. Probably yes, but how you can reach me, and I'm always open for questions and for meeting up, or also meeting you in the Sustainability Consultation Hour. Looking forward to this, and thank you.